Shall see soon. All right. Hopefully folks start popping back on. This is still saying we have folks on. And hopefully we have sound alerts again too. We shall see.
Yeesh. Oh, shite.
They're working again. I clicked it and it was still like really loud right here. That wasn't me. That was
Hi,
Ghosty.
Golden. That worked. And I'm not frozen.
And we can hear it. Oh my gosh.
That was a pain.
What a...
Okay, well, Ty, you can go ahead and start because I literally did nothing other than mix up some purple.
Well, I still have to open up documents.
Do stuff.
Oh. You do stuff. Oh.
You do stuff. Oh, I gotta refresh this here.
Okay, I am open it. What do you mean do I want to open it? Yeah, open it with Notepad. What? That was weird.
Okay. Stupid phone. I was trying to have it on over here so I can like read a little easier, and now it's being stupid.
All right.
There we go.
Hopefully we get everyone back. And again, I apologize for that stuff. Like I said, I knew I should restart before we started, but I sat down to start.
Yay.
But I sat down to start setting up and realized that I did everything earlier except for write all the text for everything. So, all right. So what I put in the explanations and announcements today is that we will discuss landships and gear, if anybody has any ideas about that, and talk some more about other structures. That's kind of like the starting point, but I also added in there that we'll go back to plants and animals if we need to. We may not have a lot on these items. I'm just trying to wring out whatever we can get, right? So still working on getting the rest of my notes open. Probably should not have done it that way. Let's see. There we go. Notes. Now here's hoping that also world building window is working appropriately. Did you have anything you wanted to update us on, Dawn?
I made purple. You're updated. I literally just mixed some red and some blue together to make a real rich kind of purple. And I am slapping it on. I'm trying to hurry up and get to the this looks like a hot mess stage. Because that's the most fun stage, right?
Yeah, Ghosty, we can definitely do a summary on what we've already talked about. I think that's a good idea anyway, right? So I guess now is as good a time as any to check and see if my scenes are working.
And bye, folks.
Let's see. Hey! Yes. So we'll start with that. Let me do real quick the state of the plane first, and then we can get on that. It feels so official, right? State of the plane. March 9th, 2022. So yes, we updated all of the notes that we've had for all of the streams that we've done crowd foraging on. Put all the notes into Discord now in the appropriate channels. We added a new section for gear because we started talking about armor and some weaponry, and certainly there's going to be other gizmos and gadgets and tools and whatnot that I'm sure that we're going to come up with, right? So things that maybe would have ended up in Cathar General before, maybe it can go in the gear section now. Because this isn't just weapons and armor. I mean, it's kit, whatever you can think of, right?
Right.
Gamers in the Unknown should be starting soon. Again, Jake and I are going to be getting together to meet and start testing things out to make sure everything's working. And once that show airs, I'm going to start working on the plane on cryptmonkey.net. It's probably going to be pretty simple. It's going to give you an outline of what lots of you guys you already know about, because we've been talking about it for a few weeks now, but to give other people sort of a primer. And then later maybe we'll get some tools or something that we can play with specifically for crowd forging. So that's on the nearer horizon, at least. So here's a funny one. I guess it was 2 weeks ago. We talked about something else, and I don't remember if it was Lashigu or somebody brought this up. I don't remember who, and I apologize for that. But it was interesting. So just want to say, does anybody know what this is? I'm sorry.
I hates it.
So we talked about this. It's called a Cordyceps Fungus. And this one's on an ant. Yes, I looked at pictures for this today. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It had like spiders and crickets and grasshoppers and all kinds of stuff that it attacks. I mean, we always think about the ants, the zombie ants, right? Oh boy, that stuff is scary. So this picture in particular, that's the zombie fungus. Yeah, that we talked about, right? Nasty, very nasty. That was you that asked about that then. This particular picture, I don't have a photo credit exactly. Didn't have that. This is a for sale site. It's odditiesforsale.com. For anybody that's interested, you can actually buy this sort of thing. I'd be terrified to bring it in my house, honestly. But yeah, for anybody that's interested in it, this is the URL that I found it on. For the zombie ant.
Nope.
Right? That's wild. Very freaky. All right. Well, let's that's the state of the plane at the moment. So at least things, even if they're moving slowly, we're moving forward with them at least. Last weekend we did I did some writing, and
I did some listening to the writing.
Dawn did some listening. So the whole first scene has got a rough draft. So that was fun. That was fun. Including things that we've talked about with you guys and that you've come up with was pretty cool. So this first bit, it's kind of, I think we talked about it probably the first time we talked about the plane, that it's just made up of these metal boxes. Ghosty says, not sure if y'all have played The Last of Us, but the overall theme is that fungus evolved to move to humans. Yeah, I was reading about that today too. I have not played the game yet. I would like to, but Dawn doesn't let me spend money. But yeah, I was aware that's the premise anyway, even though I haven't played it myself. So, land ships are essentially big giant metal boxes. You've got one main box for the main living area that's usually, generally speaking, it's about 25 by 25 foot square. Oftentimes, it's a 2-story, so that you have working, eating, hangout area downstairs, and then sleeping quarters upstairs. On the front of the box is the dog ox enclosure, which is like a little barn, of a box. It's only about 10 foot by 10 foot. It doesn't have to be much larger than that. It stores tools around the walls and stuff like that. And then, of course, it's where the dog oxes live. And then at the back, occasionally there'll be a small 3x3 or 4x4 box attached to the back that's like a tool shed or something like that. That's the basic structure of a land ship. Now, super wealthy people like buyers and stuff, they may have much more elaborate designs. The standard ones take 2 dog oxes, all it takes. They can pull this thing that is tons. They can pull it at about the speed of a person can walk. Comfortably walk, kind of quickly. A brisk walk. So they're really strong, even though they're not very big. They're only 4.5 foot tall by 5.5 feet long. Things we talked about are, during the travel, everybody's going to have a job. Like when they're coming out or they're going off of the plane. They're going off the plane. It's probably a much bigger ordeal because they have, they've certainly hired an army to come with them. So they're planning ahead and getting an army to them so that they can leave the plane with that sort of protection. When they're coming on the plane, it might be just the family to get started. And in that case, you're just going to have one person that's sort of commanding the dog oxen, and then everybody else is going to be either cleaning up inside the land ship or
on watch duty.
On watch. That's probably what most people are watching to make sure that nothing's headed for them.
Yeah. And we also discussed the fact that the dog ox are, very canine-like features. So, not features, but behavior-wise. So, like most of the control of them will be with
vocal commands.
Vocal commands.
Yeah.
I was getting there.
I was just excited, and I beat you to it. Unapologetically.
Rude.
So yeah, basically it's just work on the way out for sure. I would imagine the first few years after you get there is probably the same. So some of the features we talked about is, for one, is a decoy launcher. So you think about a ball of fur on the end of a string or a rope
with scent.
Oh, well,
we'd want to add that. No, but I just thought about it, that we'd want to add scent to it.
But it's basically, so you wake up in the morning and you're doing all your checks, but on the off chance that you missed some large creature on the roof of your home or tucked away in a corner that the mirrors can't, I'll talk about the mirrors in a little bit, just something manages to hide, this decoy launcher adds this much more, that if you have something that's waiting to attack, the launcher sends this thing out away from the land ship, and then you can reel it back in with the presumption that it's going to attract whatever is close to your building that you can't see, so that you know to wait until that thing's gone. This was brought up as a way to handle the polar bear problem, I think is what I'll call it, where polar bears will apparently get on somebody's roof and wait for them to walk out the door. So
just a little bit fucked up, just saying.
Yeah. So this was a little tool to try and solve that problem. Yeah, to counter that problem. This was a cool one, Dawn. I think you came up with this RV style sidewalls where, let's say it's a kitchen or a food prep room, and like an extra room, that whenever you're stationary, you can extend this thing out like on an RV, and you increase the size of your living area then. So I think that's a really neat idea. I think it's the kind of ingenuity that people on the plane would want to use, considering their limited amount of space. Being able to do that while being secure sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
Some of these things, periscope, peep slots, corner mirrors, these are things that have already been written into the first scene of this first short story. The periscope is, it's a periscope, and it allows you to, before you get out of your land ship, you can see around it at a long distance to see if anything at a long distance is headed your direction. You can also look at these corner mirrors and see if somebody or something is in one of your blind spots. And then the peep slots, well, that's what they're, just slots that you can open up and look outside to see if anything is in wait. If anything you don't want to meet is out there waiting for you to start your morning walk. So those things have already been implemented have already started being developed in that story. We talked about slitted vents as a way for ventilating. So these are like vents at the bottom of the ship and at the top of the land ship to control airflow. And we even talked about things like maybe there's a wet rag or some other thing that can act as a membrane to go over the bottom vents to cool the air as it's coming in. We talk about how wind power might be used, especially after you get there, right? So once you get there, maybe you set up a bit of kit for a windmill, a small wind turbine or something on the roof of your land ship that will let you operate a ceiling fan. And then maybe back to those vents, we talked about maybe there's little fans in there that help direct that air through the bottom and out the top. So that was pretty cool. Kind of going on the naval theme, we talked about doors, how they're kind of like on a ship.
Yeah, with the wheels, those big old crank things.
Yeah. So you lock and unlock them with that big crank wheel. It's pretty cool. We talked about how you might sleep on your land ship. So we talked about hammocks are probably the main, because they're easy, right? They're easy to repair. They're easy to stow. They're easy to hang. And we could even stack in the same area to save even more room. Also stacking retractable beds from the walls. Again, stealing from naval ideas, ships that have these. Well, specifically, we're talking about from the World War II, where they, at least during that time, they had just cots that basically hinged out of the wall, and then they were bunk bed-ish. So you could have that kind of stuff. And then fuel for heating, that's something we're going to develop. We talked about maybe there's some coal, some wood, a little bit. I'm kind of leaning toward this idea that just about anywhere on the plane, you should be able to find maybe, I guess not anywhere, but let's say it's a common find to this, a peat or a peat-like kind of situation, because it's easy for them to get. They don't have to buy it from somebody else, and they can go cut it themselves, dig it out themselves. And then we also talked about ores that might be unique for the plane too. That probably shouldn't be under fuel. Not sure.
But it makes sense that it would be, because I mean that's what started the conversation is.
Yeah, I think the ores conversation, though, was twisting off to things other than Agdal that might be
found out there and
might be unique. Maybe not completely unique to the plane, but rare and found in the plane. Other reasons for people to come out there that maybe aren't on the plateau where you plant and farm Agdal. So that's kind of what we talked about on the land ship. The other structures we talked about, these are buildings that would be generally built out of maybe wood, depending on whether or not you live near enough to a copse. But predominantly they'd be built out of stones in most places, and anywhere you could make cop. So there could be a lot of cop buildings too.
We talked about the possibility of, one of the things you pack out with you when you leave is some bamboo seeds, because, bamboo grows quickly. So it's one of the things you can go ahead and plant yourself a little forest of bamboo.
Yeah, I added the bamboo notes to the trader and the farmer, but I didn't actually. That's a good point. There's a good chance that since it grows so fast, people would bring this with them. A bamboo-like plant anyway.
Yeah, something along those lines, just because of the way bamboo naturally happens here.
And then we also added another general note on these kinds of buildings, the buildings where you're not sleeping in, is that because you don't expect to sleep in them, their security is that they're in the fields. So basically, whatever the security you have set up for your Agdal field becomes the security for whatever buildings you have out there as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of said it might be fun to force somebody to spend the night out in a barn that's got 3 walls and an open space on the side of it or something, because maybe something can get in there.
Yeah, not a whole lot of sleeping going on, but
and then in general, we listed these other buildings, as barns, windmills, and corrals as well. Certainly, I can see like the armored livestock might be in the field, and then stone wall corralling or something like that. Maybe wood if they've got it close.
yeah.
So that's almost in a nutshell. I'd say the other things we talked about, like the bamboo, that reminded me that we did add to the traders that might be on the giant turtle might grow something like bamboo forest up there on the turtle with them, because it's so replenishable, and certainly they'd find a market out there for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And who else? Oh, and the farmers. And that the farmers may just think ahead and say, you know what, we're going to do this in case.
God damn it!
Shitsky.
Oh! Too quiet for too long? Is that what it was?
Dawn, you got more colors going on. We're going to come over to you for a moment. Oh, it's blurry. That's the problem with having to restart.
Yeah.
All those settings that don't hold went bye-bye with me. Let me fix that. Well, and plus trying to hurry to get back in. Oh, that's better, I think. Let's see if I can do this too. Oh, I think that looks better.
Yes. So.
Yes. Hello, Sawdust. Ghosty
Sawdust.
says, "Holy moly, saw that was perfect beyond imagine."
So basically, this is her healthy side, and this is her dead side. So what I did was I got the color I liked, nice and rich purple over here, which it's funny because the light shining right there makes it look like I missed a spot, and I didn't. And then I took that same color and I added white to it to dull it down so that I can make it, look old and worn. And now I got a good little base coat of that color going. So all I'm doing, let me twist my palette. Basically, I've got the two colors side by side, and I'm just like grabbing some of the lighter one and some of the darker one, both on the same brush, not blending it at all, and just dabbing. Like, not the stupid dance dab, no. I'm just splotching it around to let it blend on the model itself so that her clothing on this side looks patchy and worn and torn and ugly because it's dead and rotting.
It's already starting to look cool.
Yeah.
Oh, let me go back to main there before I do this. I'm still trying to catch up from our oopsie earlier. All right, that's how it's gonna be. All right, so hopefully that was a good catch up. Sawdust says just got home from a gig.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah. Ghosty says getting a serious Two-Face vibes.
Yuppers.
So I'm thinking, since maybe we just had a few people join, it's only fair to show them this.
God damn it. Should not have looked. I knew better and I did it anyway.
All right. So that's kind of the catch up. Were there any other subjects that we talked around things? Like other subjects, I mean, Dawn, that you remember?
I don't know. I'm freaking out over the stupid ant thing.
Should I just
move on? Just move on.
I can just leave it up so you can get used to it. If
Fuck
you like.
off.
Would it be better if I just described it to you? It's like stuck to. No, I guess it's a no. All right, I'll turn it off.
I'm not gonna look over there again.
I'm sure everyone's really enjoying that.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
So it seems like Sunday we also we talked about acid storms and boiling storms. Was that the one before? I don't remember. And those haven't been developed, but they have been added to the list. They were added to the Weather Channel today. Fun ant. Is any scarier than the spider behind you, Dawn? Is the ant scarier than the spider behind you, Dawn? Asking for Ghosty.
Oh, and look. And with that comment, your caravan shrunk by 50%.
Oh, no, it didn't.
Because I'm a bitch.
Anywho, do you remember any of some of the things I mentioned that people may have missed that are being developed already for the world? This plains rabbit idea. I have not started developing it as a potential pack animal yet.
But we did develop it is a food source.
But yes. But it is like a food source.
It's already been made into jerky.
Yep. We're calling them hopperjacks. Hopperjack jerky. Ghosty says that's just mean. They're not gonna do it because I want to say big again.
Mean, cruel. These are all accurate terms for me. And if you wonder how I got that way, 3 children.
22 years with me.
Done.
Sada says, "Oh, I'm trying to remember what I forgot." That's so hard, isn't it? It's difficult. Oh, did this unnamed predator come out of that? The mimicking one, the one that mimics the
baby
sounds
cries
of pups. And
yes.
Then human beings come to this world and it starts to adjust for its new prey.
That did come out of Sunday.
That's really exciting. I didn't come up with that one. That's something I think, was that you bouncing that around, or was that Sawdust?
I think it was a joint venture between me and Sawdust, because basically I think Sawdust said something and then I thought of, something that would cry out like a baby to get you to come out and check on it, and then he developed it past that to where it would actually make sense, where it mimics the pups of its actual prey, and it's starting to learn to mimic our children instead, or as well.
Sawdust agrees it was a joint venture, and Ghosty understands that I've got their back. If for no other reason than I want to hold that heavy thing again, right?
Keeping in mind, he doesn't do the 3D printing. I do. I'm just kidding. First of all, it's fun to mess with you, but I would never actually do that.
So I'm excited about this unnamed predator because I've always wanted to do something like this ever since I read Book of the New Sun and Book of the Old Sun, where they have this creature in there I don't remember what it's called, but essentially what it does is it waits for you to do a fresh burial. It likes to hang out near graveyards, and you bury your loved one, and it digs your loved one up and eats part of it. I think it has to eat the brain or something like that. And then it has some of your loved one's memories this way, and can do its voice, can do your loved one's voice. So it will remember where you lived and scratch outside your door and talk in your loved one's voice and ask to be let in. So I've always wanted some version of that, and I think you guys came up with a version of it that, well, hell, I'm not stealing it because, you guys said it. But it has that feature of foolery.
Itchy.
Huh?
Itchy arm. Nothing important. I was just speaking.
Of mimicry, but I love that it's specifically attacking your empathy by making it young. So yeah, that
because
really
we're cruel and psycho.
That provides a pretty good itch on my psycho scratch. And I like that it adjusts to the new prey. That maybe it's been eating the same thing for a million years before human beings came to the Cathar.
Well, I mean, if you look at it from a predatorial aspect, I mean, if you've got, jackrabbits that'll feed you one meal, or you've got humans that'll feed you 4 meals, and you can take down either one just as easily.
Yeah. Probably less easier.
Can't decide what color to do her hat itself.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. That may be everything that we added last time.
Sounds about right. Although we may remember something as we're going, but I need to get a drink. Yes, Ghosty, that's part of whatever it was. I didn't read your whole comment, but I got to the Wendigo part. That's basically somebody said something that made me think of a Wendigo, and that's where that kind of whole thing started. And then I just the whole thing started going off in my head, and I started shuddering. I'm like, let me explain why I'm sitting here shuddering. And that's where derailment happened. Oh, shite.
You guys are just as bad at people as I am.
Only because of exposure to you.
Yeah, so I think that kind of catches us up. So I guess with that recap, is there any more ideas that folks want to slide in on the land ship? I think the land ship and creatures, and probably to some extent fauna, is going to be something that we continually want to add to.
Yeah.
At least right up until the point where we, hey, here's the tabletop game.
Okay, I have no idea.
You have no idea about what?
Your daughter.
Oh. Well, I have no idea what you're talking about, so
she's messaging me at the moment. I'm trying to ignore it.
Soda says, okay, I remember now. This applies for having small cities in the plains. The situation could arise where the farmers don't exactly have enough cash on hand to purchase the supplies needed year to year. The buyers can then come around with contracts where they buy your supplies and deduct it at a premium from the price that they pay the farmer when harvest comes. That makes so much sense, especially if generationally you're the first generation or second generation out there, and you're really trying to get your feet under you and learn this whole new world. So that's a new career. Let's see. Well, no, it's not really a new career. I guess it could be a career for other people, but I like adding that to the buyers because they would have the most to gain. They know that they're out there for a couple of years and they can make a stop by your place just before they leave and pick up something, right? I can remember where the... Here we go. Buyers. Oops, that's traders. Buyers have a loaning side hustle. And here's where I copy and paste. That's a good idea, Sawdust. I like that. Yeah, of course, you're going to have people who are going to do stuff like this. And on one hand, it could be, it's a great way to help them get along, get through the next couple of years or whatever. On the other hand, it could also come from that point of predatory financial tactics, Yeah, I definitely like this as a great story element, actually. All right, so I don't see anything coming up for the land ship. Let's this is the time if anybody has any idea about gear. That was the next thing I wanted to make sure that if anybody had any spectacular ideas for,
or just good. They don't have to be spectacular.
Don't listen to Dawn. They have to be spectacular. Just so we're clear, spectacular to me is the basics, The basics for trying to live and survive in this environment can certainly be spectacular to me. So anything about land ships, anything about gear. And the next thing we're going to move on to was... I don't remember. Oh, other structures. It's important to get to those things now because these can all be things that get slid in on this first story. So I'm trying to get people's voices in there quickly, but that's not to say, when I'm working on the 8th story, that something new can't pop in with regards to gear or something. But so next will be the other structures.
We're going to kind of gloss over the basic, this is a backpack sort of gear. And we're talking about specialty items, or are you...
Well, I'm not talking about frying pans.
Those are dangerous weapons. I don't know why you're like going to not talk about a frying pan.
Because I don't think people would enjoy developing or designing that, actually. I figured out what I'm doing with this crowd forging is everybody gets to be like the worst kind of designer. I have this idea, make this thing round and black. Okay, I got a golf game. I'll see you later. Be sure that's done by 3 today. I'm kidding. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. Drive-by hello from Bali Tempest. Hi, Bali Tempest. Your work is great. Love the stream and community you've created. Well, we love you guys, man. We're having a blast doing this. I think that's why we're so surprised that this is the 50th episode crazy. Tonight. All right. So I don't see... I'm going to keep going, but we are happy to keep backing up. I know Ghosty's really wanting me to hurry up and get to creatures, so I'm really just trying to make them wait. I'm kidding.
And I'm holding my breath as I do these stupid lines down her coat.
I do the same thing, Bali Tempest.
What?
So don't worry about the typing.
Oh, that's actually funny because for the longest time, we used to message each other, live you too. Or live you too.
Live you too.
Because Ty had a mistype one day and it just stuck.
Still do. The kids do that on purpose now. Uh, Sada says the land ship needs a rubber ducky launcher.
Maybe there's a creature that is terrified of ducks,
Like you.
like me. So now it's a scare tactic. Like we brought ducks with us to this world, right? And so then basically there was this like random animal that's already here that, you know, got attacked by a goose. And because geese are mean ass creatures. So now there's like this whole breed of animal that are, you know, what you would call it, native to Cathar, and they're terrified. They've all been taught to fear the goose, fear the ducks.
See, I was going to attack,
Yes,
but then they slung a rubber ducky and he was like, quack.
No, exactly like a cat's afraid of cucumbers. It makes no freaking sense whatsoever, but it happens. Oh, there's a million different videos out there on the internet of
this
cats.
isn't like dogs can't look up. Is it? Because
No. Like literally, like there's so many videos of people just have a cucumber on the floor and a cat sniffs it and then does like and runs away. It's like, what the fuck? No clue, no understanding of why or anything. It is.
why is this new to me? If it's that,
Because you don't get on the internet and watch cat videos.
that's true.
We can't help that you're like uneducated.
Okay. Ghosty says, spooky, spooky, spooky. No, but actually, I'm painting camo. Then I have some ideas to send. Groovy.
I have painted camo. My hat is off to you, my dear.
I don't remember where the hell I got sidetracked now. I got to go back and look at the list.
There's an animal that's afraid of ducks and all fowls. See, they're called fowl for a reason. I'm not going to let go of this. There's going to be an animal that is native to Cathar that is terrified of birds.
Cucumbers.
Birds, specifically ducks.
I'm like super interested in the cucumber thing now. That may be.
Stay on task.
I feel like I should make a note.
To look it up later?
Sada says, I've painted camo on an army jeep. Oh, that's neat.
I painted about 7 mechs that were this tall in camo.
So we're stacking up the items. Land ships, gear, and other structures. So one of the things on other structures I did actually want to talk about was we kind of broached the subject, and I'm not sure what the right thing to do is. So I have this thing like we talked about. In general, your protection for your other structures is likely to just be your field.
Right, because
whatever you've implemented for your field, right? But you brought up one when we were talking about food processing, smokehouse, which I think, I've already started talking about the hopperjack jerky. I think smoked meats is something that they would think was important, right? So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's a great way to preserve your food. Besides digging a hole and putting it in there to keep it cold, because I'm assuming they don't really have refrigeration yet.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, where would this be? Would this, I want to say that this would be another one of these other buildings that wouldn't be attached to your structure. Here's why I'm torn. I'm wondering if you've got smoking meats inside of a building that's not part of your land ship. Do we have to build extra securities around something like that, at least while you're smoking? Or do you put it inside of your land ship somehow? And what bothers me, I think even more about that, is you're in a big metal box, so you already struggle with the things we talked about on Sunday, heating and cooling.
Yeah.
And maybe cooling not as much during the summertime because of the wind. Um,
I
but
I
I
just
wonder if the wind gets counteracted if you have this big hot box attached to the side of your big metal land ship.
I would think if you're doing a smokehouse, you would not have it attached. I can't see any reason to have that inside your building. I just don't. There's nothing about it that screams, I would put this in my building. I would have a completely separate building. I wouldn't have to worry about it messing with my heating or cooling or anything at all. Because it's just, it is what it is. I mean, if you think about it, like when we're using the smoker, it's hard enough if the day is not right to keep the temperature at the right level. And you'd need to keep the entire building at the right level, which would be easier to do if it was self-contained and that was all you had to worry about in that location.
So really it's something we just have to develop securities for then, I think.
I think so. I think that's the right way to go about it. Oh, I hate these bottles.
That makes the most sense to me, that you're not going to really want to mess with your habitation and make it more difficult. I wouldn't even want it too close during the summertime, maybe.
No.
I wouldn't even want it too close to the land ship, even if it was separate.
And not to mention, the smell of that cooking is going to attract predators. You know, there's a reason when you set up your camp, you set up your sleeping camp here, and then way the hell over there is where you clean your meat. It's where you cook your meat. You don't do that next to your camp. You know, and that, I mean, that's a reality. That's what people do. They keep that shit separate.
Yeah.
It keeps you safe.
Sawdust adds basic no-frill travel food can be hardtack. Yeah, and I'll have to look that up. I'm not sure exactly if that's like a jerky or what that is, but it sounds familiar as something like cowboys had or something. I don't know.
They had beans.
Maybe it is jerky. I don't. Okay, Ghosty says. So yes, we're gonna develop this smokehouse. By the way, I think this is gonna be an important other building.
I do too. I mean, you've got to have a way to preserve. You know, if you're going out and you're getting these huge bits of meat, you know, this huge kill that'll last you 6 months. It won't last you 2 days if you can't get it preserved.
Soda says it's basically flour and salt and water baked. So
Glue.
It's glue. That's why it's called hard tack, because it's gonna tack anyway. All right, we will come back. I think unless somebody else pulls me elsewhere, we'll come back to the outhouse soon, because I think that's at least going to be listed as get it away from the land ship kind of.
Well, yes, I want the outhouse away from the land ship too.
Well, I think you're going to be excited about it too, instead of you just spent
You said
years.
outhouse or smokehouse? Which one?
No, outhouse.
Okay,
You're going to be excited about the outhouse, and this is why. You just spent 10 years getting out here, and this whole 10 years, you've been squatting a few feet away, yelling at everybody to quit looking at me when nobody's looking. But I think that's at least, I don't know. I just wonder if this world has something different in store for this old invention, the outhouse. So Ghosty says, okay, that was rough, but I have this idea about a horn that people may carry. Ooh. When they blow into it, creatures, when they blow into it, it creates a roar of one of the fear animals on the plains. I'm assuming we're talking about the unnamed one we were talking about earlier. This could be used to deter smaller critters or even people from an area. Oh, that's clever. It just gives these things a momentary thought that some big scary animal is nearby. One of the fear creatures. Ghosty, are we talking about the unnamed one that the mimicking baby sounds creature? I'm worried that there's another creature I'm just not thinking of right now.
Or are you just saying in general, a big giant creature everyone is afraid of in any way?
Yeah, that could be too. I didn't really think about that.
Mess of that bottle earlier.
Oh, and now Puker Mole, the Volmouse, will no longer be at the end. That is going to be fun.
That is one of my lesser favorite ones.
This is just some big animal like I'm thinking like a lion roar, just one big animal people are scared of. That is a good idea. You see, I don't actually have a gear section because I had a weaponry section. I will add an other gear section. Yeah, that is a really cool, unique idea, actually. In every single time. Okay. And I did that again too. Okay, so I added a new section to my notes for gear that isn't armor or weapons. So I like this idea. I think that's a really clever, unique, especially with the idea that you could use it as a defense against people, even if it doesn't last forever, right? Um, so Soda says, uh, Ghosty, and the flip side of that is you might actually call one of those fear creatures if one is in the area as a territory protection. So
Or
you
even
have to
mating.
be careful. The plot thickens.
Because you think about like a moose call, you know, they're coming over to either kick the other moose's ass or say, "What's up? How you doing?" So you've got
doing?
how you doing?
You guys are brilliant. Brilliant.
We know this.
Um yeah, I dig that. I dig that a lot.
Yeah.
That's our first unique piece of gear that this is what I was talking about. Something that wouldn't necessarily be expected. If we're not gonna write down swords unless there's some interesting feature to the material used or something, right? But this is a non-weapon and it is really clever. Or it could be a defensive item, right? So I like that too. Or it could get you in trouble. I really like that.
That's for Ghosty.
Well done, Ghosty. He says we're brilliant like he's surprised.
He is surprised easily.
I'm easily excited. That's
actually what it is.
That's what other people say. I think you're all full of shit and it takes a lot. It just, there is a lot. And I make excuses too sometimes. Yeah, that was well worth the wait, huh? All right. That's almost guaranteed to get developed too. I'd say that's guaranteed to get developed. I really like that. Okay, I am going to add this to the list, even though it seems silly or borderline gross. I am going to add outhouse. And if anybody comes up with ideas of, you know what you need to do in the plane to keep safe when you're using the outhouse,
When you be pooping.
then we sort of put the seed there. Okay. And I keep forgetting that I've got to make a better window for this work.
Yes, you do.
I've probably said that before, haven't I?
Yes, you have.
All right, Dawn, let's see. Where are we at over there?
I'm painting feathers.
Feathers!
So I took the 2 contrast paints, the yellow contrast, and did that over here. And then I did the apothecary white over here. And then I blended them together on the back and then used some water to kind of wash away the yellow and bring the white over, and then wash away a little bit of the white and bring the yellow over. And I just kind of played back and forth at the back of her head. So the yellow comes a little bit more this way, but on this side, I brought that faded look over that way. So it kind of marries that mesh. So, and then she died.
She was half dead when she got here.
So now I'm just putting, I have the speed paint blue, and I'm putting that on the feathers.
So it is 9 o'clock. I just want to let everybody know, if that's okay with you, Dawn. So at 9:30, Gareth will be getting on, and we are planning to raid him. So please hang out just a little bit longer if you can, so you can get a chance to see Gareth in action. Great painter, a lot of fun. So just to let everybody know, we're planning to do that.
Yes.
All right.
So what would everyone be afraid of the noise that this beastie makes? What is that beast that everyone is terrified of?
I mean, that's something we can look at what we already got. We have such a hell of a list already of bestiary.
I mean, to be honest, it is like the most fun category to play with.
Yeah, I mean, we get to gaming, it's going to be what we're fighting, right? I'm just wondering, is it... Because we don't have to make an animal. We could make it a terrifying...
Oh, shit!
Fuck. I mean, sorry.
See, it should be a duck.
Hello again, Gareth. Back from a nap. Man, that's a quick nap, my man. So it could be...
I literally, like, physically jumped. Yeah, that one got me really good.
Well, I was going to say it could be a plant, but even if it's a plant that can reach out or whatever...
I think it should have teeth.
Is that as scary as something that can, like, run after you? Yeah, I think it needs to have teeth. Well, I mean, we can make a plant with teeth, but anyway.
Oh, yeah, we should do that. But I'm saying, like, having... You know, yeah, I think something that gets up and runs after you is much scarier. And will scare people off further. Because if it was something that was stationary, like, okay, well, that sounded kind of far away, so I don't have to worry about it. Because it can't come to get me. But if we've got something that moves super fast...
So one thing hasn't been developed. We've got the Mega Direwolf. It could be something like that thing's roar.
Yeah.
It could be a raindar. The only thing with the raindar is if you hear it but you don't see it, you might be suspicious since they're like 8 stories tall, right?
I like the idea of moving forward with the dire wolf. I gotta sit up. Oh, I gotta stop doing that.
It's funny because so many of the creatures we've made are they're not big scaries, you know.
Well, let's make a big scary then. Ooh, sawdust.
Um, oh, that's a good point. I don't actually have that updated in my notes yet. That would be a fun one. Is so Ghosty says maybe that giant cat creature we talked about, which would be like a tunnel cat or
Yeah.
something. I thought I had another name for it, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Um, Maybe that giant cat creature we talked about, the ambush one, the way when people don't see it right away,
It makes perfect sense.
that makes perfect sense. They start to wonder, like, is it right next to me? I should go back that way. Back the way I came, rather. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking that.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Um, Sawdust says, so how about a training aid using nitrate fertilizer? You can make an explosive. If you make your explosive a very distinct shape, color item, now you would have to set aside time to wait for a predator to come around and explode this item near them. If it is done enough, the predator learns that this thing over here explodes, then you can just put these shaped objects with no explosive in it around so that predators can be deterred from entering certain areas.
Without having to use the special chemicals. That's a good idea.
Okay, so this is another piece of kit that I'm going to cheat again and just put your quote in. And then, yeah, I agree, Ghosty. I think we use that.
The cat.
We'll call it a tunnel cat for now.
Yeah, that cat does make the most sense.
Where did I put my new gear? Not this far. Did I? It had to be below this. Yes. All right. Oh, I'm doing it again. Sorry. Unnamed explosive item. I did that again. Every time I make it all. I'm awful at this. Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds fun. I don't even think. I mean, the way this is described, this is very much like how farmers might go about something, right?
Yeah.
Gotta remove a stump. You gotta scare a critter off. Blow something up. I dig it. Okay, so oh well, I was already doggone it. Oh, I'm still here. Okay. Do this bold so that I remember when we're working on this later. Make
Oh, it's running away from me.
and that tunnel cat. Like I said, I still need to add notes for that guy. Here we go. That one is going to be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Oh, 3. Sweet.
There. It's a little easier to paint.
All right, that's pretty cool. Um, Gareth, if you're still hanging out, Dawn and I were just letting people know right before you got back on, actually, that we are planning to raid you at 9:30. So we will be watching for you. All right, we've got gear done. And like I said, I'm just gonna keep going because we've got some other structures done. We've got some gear done. We've even started going into the animals. That's so we're any of these subjects now are open. You said you wanted to talk. Oh, what is this? Sada says animals work well with training by scent. Use the waste from the outhouse to coat these items. Now the predators are afraid of human. I like that. Oh, it's not a fun job, right? But it's helpful.
You could also use that same material to fertilize.
The fields?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was below this. There's so many things now. I'm losing my place. And I'm forgetting to move it to the top again.
You're
Let's
bad
see.
at this. How many times I gotta say that?
Just thought everybody likes sitting there watching the same words forever while I go tip, 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 tap, tip.
Well, see, that's why we paint and do this. So that there's more to look at.
That is really funny. I mean, not just funny. I mean, it's clever. Get them to be afraid of the area and that smell. I love it.
And then when they're running you down, you just shit your pants and they go away.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna blow. I think he already did.
Self-defense at its best.
Human waste, so the animals are afraid of that too. That's gross. Okay.
Yet effective.
Human feces is dangerous to use as fertilizer. I was just thinking about maybe the amount that you would need versus what you have may not match the size of the fields. So I don't know. Ghosty says, in psychology, I learned about how farmers tried to deter wolves from eating their sheep. So they took some dead sheep and infused it with poison. After the wolves ate the dead sheep with poison, they died, and the other wolves associated the wolves eating sheep with dying, and it actually helped for a while. Well, until the wolves started to smell a difference in the two meats. But the idea is that it would work. Yeah. Makes sense. Oh my gosh, the wolves could tell it. You're not poisoned.
Just walk up. Nope. Yep. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's the details that start to make all of this really rich anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I don't so Ghosty was talking about the land sharks, which I don't really have a better name for yet. It's just funny to call them land sharks. I don't remember how much, if anything, I talked about other than they burrow. But yeah, they're nocturnal. This is how much we've got on them. They are nocturnal. They I guess I should start making notes on it now while we're talking about it, huh?
Yes.
You have so many creatures. I love it. Land shark. I feel like I'm making a Saturday Night Live joke or something. So
we could call them sharks with freaking laser beams.
So they burrow and every single time I'm going to do this apparently. They burrow and sleep underground. The reason I'm calling them sharks, and I apologize if I've mentioned all of this before, the reason I'm calling them sharks is because they can't stay stationary for too long. Like sharks, in order to breathe, they have to be in either moving water or be moving through the water. I don't know if that's true of all sharks, but I know certainly that there are a lot of sharks that are that way. And that's kind of how these guys are, that they can run pretty fast, but when they stop to fight or whatever, they're probably going to get more tired from standing and fighting for too long because they have to keep moving, or they kind of go to sleep. It's not necessarily that they're going to die and suffocate, but they sort of go to sleep. Um, Moving, or they go dormant. So at least one of the ways I envision them actually getting in a fight is they do a couple of moves and then they sort of run off into the dark, and then another one jumps back in its place, sort of thing, right? Um, this is an interesting creature. I kind of think of it as like we have missing links that would have been sort of lower level of communication and stuff like that. That's these guys are bipedal. I mean, they don't look like sharks, but they do have weird gill structures along their necks right here. Um, but other than that, I mean, they have hands and feet and arms. They're kind of like shark people, sort of, without the big maw. So that's kind of, I think, where I'm at. So one of the things with the land ship was that it was like an early idea I had with the inner hull, that could sometimes sort of backfire. People may find ways, if the land shark guys like burrow up in the hull in between and start trying to get in, then there are defensive measures we might put in there specifically for something that would do that. That basically just prevents them from moving. Oh no, that's what it was. I think it was they couldn't move very far in there, right?
So yes, simply making sure the size of each room is reduced in the land ship itself.
Well, they can't get in there because it's a metal floor. It's a metal box that's enclosed, right?
Right, but let's say that you have your door wide open and all of a sudden, or like you're in the barn. That'd be one reason to make sure that you have a lot of stalls in the barn, because then the land shark can't come in and move a whole bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the idea is just that it doesn't get in there. That barn piece is only 10 by 10. It's tiny, right? This room is bigger than that barn piece. You're talking about the enclosure for the dog oxes, right?
I'm just saying in general, any space that you have, you'd want to make sure you restrict the size of each individual room.
I mean, they're 25 by 25, and that's an open room, but I mean, again, it just seems like what you're doing, you don't ever want them in there because they're tough, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, what do we have here? Are these very rare, or are they pretty dang common to the point that if you go outside at night, you're done for? It's not just them that you're going to be in big trouble. I pretty much, the sun's going down and there's enough bad nocturnal things that you're like, everybody get in the house and you shut it up. You know, there's not a lot of hanging out on the front porch and watching the sun go down. Not just because of them, but these guys are a threat, a potential threat in most of the plane. I kind of see them as nomadic as well. So people get inside, or in the case of people like the berry cult, you know, the suns are falling, then it's time to get with your rain dar, because obviously they're not going to mess with that thing. But I wouldn't say that they're rare. I'd say almost everywhere on the plane, you have a possibility of having these things living near you, and they may even be, if I said that already, I don't know, they might even be nomadic. So You just never know. And because they burrow in places, it's hard to know where they might be, right? Oh. But yes, this is one of, because they're relatively common, this is pretty much the main reason that they even keep their floors, or it's all the land ship is all one big metal box just to keep them from even burrowing up under a wooden floor or something, right? Um, but yeah, I'd say they're fairly common. Um, that's kind of all I had on them so far. Did you say you had some ideas about these guys, or you just wanted to know some more about them? Dawn, let's see how you're doing here.
Well, I did itty tiny bitty little buttons for like the last 12 minutes. I was circling little stupid head buttons. That's it. That's all I've done is got white on the buttons. Because I decided that she should have pearl buttons. So I am going to put fairy dust on the buttons and it'll make them shiny. But at the moment, that's all we have. That's it.
That's more than I would have.
I don't feel like I've gotten very far at all.
I think it's looking pretty cool. Gareth thinks it looks great so far.
Yeah, I was just hoping to be able to finish it.
Sawdust is very nice.
Okay. I think she is going to have a satin pink, whatever those fancy things on your neck are called.
What? I'm sorry? The lapel things? Or what do you...
A lapel is in your pocket, isn't it?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fancy dress person. I am a
Right.
t-shirt and jeans person. So, ascot. That's what they're called. Ascot. And I know that from Scooby-Doo.
Was that not the
That's what that is. That poof.
frilly thing?
The frilly thing, right?
That's what I thought when you said it, but then you said Scooby-Doo, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
The what's his face tied it on, but that's not an ascot
That
because
scarf thing?
I don't know what the fuck any of that's called. I don't know and I don't care. Actually, I do care because I'd like to know what the fuck it's called. So if anybody knows what the hell that's called, tell me.
That's what you get when you have poor people talking about rich people clothes.
But I am going to use my metallic pink, Zephyr pink from Army Painter to make that look like satin. Good job. Good job, Ty.
Thank you.
I hope Beardman Cam was on. It was. That's awesome. Because that should make that look satiny and silky.
What was I doing? Oh.
Let's see. I need... You want to fix my focus real fast? I'm going to paint right here for a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool. I wasn't working on anything. Let's see.
You can see I put a few little highlights up here and right in here too. I just toned down some of this color to make that color.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Are you gonna stay painting there for a bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we try, Ghosty asked, can we try and develop the spearhead flyer thingies a little more? I can't get them out of my head. Not sure what else to talk about with them, but I love their idea. Yes. Give me just a minute and we can talk about them some more. Gareth says, busts are intimidating as far as area to paint. You're doing great. And if it will just take some time.
Yeah.
Ghosty says, I think it looks amazing, Dawn. Love the contrast of the two colors. Now, why was I
See,
opening
I
that?
actually found this a little less intimidating than anything else because of the fact that it really, all of those tiny little details, that your head is usually that big. Now it's that big. It's a little less scary to me.
Oh, I'm going over here, and I need to go to where you and I were talking. I need to share these. So guys, we've got a little over 5 minutes, and then Gareth is going to be going live, and we will be rating him. So hang out for that for sure. I have to find this conversation with Dawn so that I can share because Saturday from 2 to 4, we are going to be streaming on a special stream day so that we can we're streaming for Midwest Game Fest, which is a great game con. They're doing this early this year. They're doing this sort of online version of the Game Fest.
Yep.
So here you can get the schedule and see not only us but other people that are streaming. I don't know if there's going to be like an entry thing going on for stuff or not. I don't think so, but I'm not positive. If there is, you could probably find out from somewhere there. But we'll be painting, and other people are going to be running games and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah.
you'll have to check out that those websites if you want to know about more about White Werewolf Tavern, which is who made this model.
Beautiful model.
You can find out information from that my mini factory link that I just posted in.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll be on Saturday. I think it's from 2 to 4.
It is.
And then we'll be on again Sunday.
Potentially Sunday. We may not stream on Sunday because that'll be our 4th stream this week, and we just may be done.
And we have talked about maybe doing a stream where it's just world building, but I don't know yet. And you guys certainly give your opinion in Discord if you want to think about it a little while or whatever and let us know. What was I looking for? Here we go. Okay. Those guys, what were they called? Was that the... I'm in the wrong
That was
one.
the piranha-like bird thingies, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those things were a little effed up. I'm just
they
saying.
were called mass something. Darters?
I can't remember.
Mass darter. Yeah. So this skinny long creature is a living harpoon, like about hawk sized. They dive bomb on other creatures, and they may even swarm like a piranha to attack, and they even ride their prey nearly all the way down to the ground. This is a lot of fun.
Let's see.
So, yeah, I kind of let out my inner psycho with them. You know what? I see this also as a problem for because people are trying to figure out flight in a way that would be safe to cross the plane, to speed things up. I think people are experimenting with things, and this could be a problem for them as well.
Yeah.
This could be a problem for people that are trying to develop flight, especially when, whoops, crossing the plane. What else can we say about these guys? I don't think that they would be airborne all the time. I think these guys are going to nest. But if they're in the plain, there's not like bluffs in most places outside of the far, like the south central area of the plain where that giant canyon goes through. There's not bluffs and things. Now, maybe they pick out rock outcroppings or something. What do we think of that? Where would they nest overnight? I wonder.
See, I was kind of thinking like maybe they build their nests up out of dirt. So I don't know how big these guys are.
Size of a hawk.
Okay. So kind of think about like the Pitch Black thing where they all like nest in dirt and everything, and then they all come shooting up out of it in the
Were
night.
they like underground?
They were underground, but we don't have to go all the way that way. You know, like how ants make those big giant freaking things of dirt.
Yeah.
What if they do that? They build, you know, like they kind of like make a burrow sort of thing, and then they all come flying out of it.
I kind of like that. Ghosty says, so I was thinking, if they had this huge spike on their head for stabbing, I was thinking they might have a smaller sucker type tentacle as their mouth.
Yeah.
They're just full of teeth, and that way they can kind of eat around the spike. Oh, I definitely think they can pose a threat against the larger land beasts like the turtles and even the reindeer. So maybe people really try to get rid of them. Yeah, I mean that's true. They could be a pest to the little bit of livestock you have or something, right?
Yeah, I could imagine them on the turtle just being like a gnat, sort of thing to those. But still, enough of them would annoy the shit out of it. They could have like big open sores caused by these things on the turtles.
Oh, wow, yeah. All right, so nesting, I like the idea that they're going to build a dirt nest kind of thing. They're going to do like a dugout. Oh, they could hide that way too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think we use both of these. Ghosty is adding, what if they do something really, really messed up and made them nest inside the large things that they kill? I remember there was a movie that had something like that just to make them really gruesome. Like when the babies hatch, they just eat right away. Yeah. We're gonna implement that.
Yeah, I think that's a better idea.
No, I think both things work because maybe they still gotta sleep even if they don't eat that day, right?
Right.
I'm doing it again, aren't I? I am. So nesting without a kill. Making a dirt dugout. Okay, I'm gonna have to check here. Let me make these notes, and then I think it's after 9:30 now. Nesting without a kill is done by making a dirt dugout. With a kill, they nest in the large creature and will even lay eggs there. Babies eat as soon as they are born.
That reminds me of a certain breed of shark. I can't remember which one it is right now, but they will actually have to where the competing babies will eat each other in the womb.
Oh my. I'm going to do a quick check and make sure. Let's see if Garrett's on. If I can remember how to type. Man, and see, I feel like this was like a really rich night again. For. Okay. Gareth is on. Okay,
right.
So this was fun. I feel like it was a rich night. I feel like we got a lot done. Keep an eye out for notes on Discord. They should be up there soon from tonight. And look out for Saturday if you've got time between 2 and 4. We're also going to post some things in Discord for those links. And anything else? Am I missing anything else, Dawn?
When we do raid, please join us for the raid for Gareth, because I'm telling you, you will enjoy it. But also, once you're on, make sure you refresh your page so that the viewers, go from us viewing us to viewing him, so that he can get those viewers as well. You know what I mean? The average viewer sort of thing. It matters for Twitch, so.
You could do it like this. Yes. All right.
And I will continue painting. Because
Dawn's going to keep painting.
I'm going to keep painting.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you guys.
Hopefully we'll see you Saturday.
I'm thinking Saturday might be kind of another paint and build sort of night. These are really fun for me.
Yeah. All right. I think with that, we're going to go ahead and head over there.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.
All right. We are going to raid very soon. Here we go. Hi, guys.
Can you turn your volume up?
I will do that. Yeah.
Hello, Crypt Monkey. Thank you for the raid. I just started a new wash on some